Hello everyone! The Burning Legion has invaded Azeroth once again, and warriors are able to pick up 3 different artifacts to empower them in this war. For Fury warriors, the Warswords of Valarjar await. These blades imbue the hatred and strife between Odin and Helja, and the history behind that is that once upon a time, Titankeeper Odin, he actually saw the Titanforge sorceress Helja as his adopted daughter. They were close, and she helped him lift a part of Ulduar into the sky, and they named it the Halls of Valor. From atop his new domain, Odin proclaimed to the Vrykul down below that those found worthy, those who died in glorious battle, they would be the ones to be taken up into the halls and live again within mighty stormforged bodies to become Valarjar, Azeroth's foremost guardians. Odin needed someone to guide the spirits of the dead back to his halls, but nobody really volunteered to become a Valkyr, cursed to live as a phantom being. Since nobody stepped up, Odin figured that he would enforce the job upon some poor soul, which Helja was not okay with. She confronted the Titan Keeper, told him to step away from this foolish plan, or she would return the Halls of Valor to Ulduar. With speaking out like that, Odin had found his victim as he lashed out and shattered Helja's physical form, twisting her spirit into the first of the Valkyr. She hated Odin for what he had done to her, but she also found herself unable to disobey. She was a slave to his will, and she went about transforming more unwilling Vrykul into the cursed Valkyr, and for ages, she, and those unfortunate enough to join her, they were the ones who brought the souls of heroic Vrykul to the Halls of Valor, where then Odin, he trained and empowered each of them. The most talented blacksmiths amongst the Vrykul, they were asked to create weapons and armor for these peerless warriors. Keeper Odin was awed by the work of one smith. His shields were light and strong, truly astonishing in the hands of a skilled fighter. Odin tasked him to try something new, focus not only on mere defense, the Keeper said, but also on the poetry of aggression. The smith heeded Odin's words and soon presented the Keeper with 2 of the finest war swords ever made on a Vrykul forge. Odin did not merely accept them, he blessed them with his power, hung them up in the Halls of Valor to motivate his Valarjar. These will be carried into battle by only the greatest among you, Odin said. So go then, prove yourself worthy. It would be many years before someone rose to the challenge. Always aggressive, Ingvar led a raiding party to investigate a cave that seemed to be dripping with dark magic. Inside, they found something terrible. A pack of creatures that had been corrupted by the old gods. When the old gods' war against the Titanforge had been all but lost, it was the old god Kafun who quickly lashed out worldwide, seizing the minds of whatever the entity could touch. Ingvar and his comrades, they were frightfully outnumbered, but they did not run. Most of the Vrykul fell in minutes, but Ingvar remained standing. Though badly wounded, he fought his way through the cave and destroyed every enemy inside. After his last breath, the Valkyr Helja sent his spirit to the Halls of Valor, where Odin welcomed him with open arms. Ingvar's death had been a noble sacrifice that resulted in victory against incredible odds. Keeper Odin declared him a paragon amongst the Valarjar and bestowed upon him these war swords. In times of great peril, Ingvar was always the first to lead the Valarjar into the fray, but the choices Odin had made would soon come to haunt him. You see, Titankeeper Loken, he fell to the corruption of Yogg-saron, and he wanted to put Odin and his Valarjar out of commission. For this, he made contact with Helja, and he made it a deal. He would liberate her from Odin's control, and in exchange, she would seal Odin and his troops within the Halls of Valor. Hatred still burned in Helja's heart, and she gladly accepted the deal. Odin and his mighty Valarjar struggled desperately to escape the floating citadel, but not even their might was enough to break the barrier, and only those who were outside of the halls at the time, they were able to escape this imprisonment. Helja herself was now free from her life of servitude, and she decided to forge a new home for herself and the other Valkyr. Far below the Halls of Valor, she created the domain called Helheim, bound to Azeroth's Great Seas, which would act as a final destination for many of the Vrykul spirits after death. Yet the darkness that had made their home in Helja's heart, it transformed her created realm into a place of nightmare and shadow. The souls of the dead Vrykul who arrived at Helheim, they found themselves turned into vengeful beings called Kvaldir. Now one of the Valarjar that had found himself outside of the halls when the imprisonment took place was Ingvar, and he took his war swords and immediately retaliated, hoping to defeat Helja and free Odin. As a Valkyr, Helja has tremendous control over the spirits of the deceased. Champion or not, Ingvar understood that he was facing a fight he likely would not win, but there was no one else who could try. Ingvar found Helja and tried to strike her down. In his hands, these swords nearly overwhelmed her, but in the end, she overpowered his spirit and smote him into oblivion. Legion. His sword fell to Azeroth, and Helja kept him as a memento of her victory over Keeper Odin. Over several millennia, Helja claimed as many souls of slain Vraiko as she could, and the ranks of Kavaldir continued to grow. She began to go after the souls of not just the heroic dead Vraiko, but also the living. Any Vraiko who seemed poised to learn the truth about the conflict between her and Odin, they became a target, and she had her Kavaldir slay them with ruthless efficiency. On top of that, she also started to raise her own champions, the Valarjar of Helheim, and she had them search Azeroth for her enemies. Eventually, one of the Kavaldir, they caught Helja's attention. Vigfús Bladewind distinguished himself in battle against the Vrykul, and Helja decided that he was the one worthy to bear these swords for all time. What better way to end the lives of Odin's faithful than with two of his prized creations? Vigfús Bladewind used these swords to kill many Vrykul heroes over the years. Helja even committed some of her own power into the blades, just as Odin had. Not only did their lethal potential increase, they also made it easier for Helja to claim their victims' souls. In truth, it is her power that makes these weapons truly magnificent. Her power, laced with her hatred, crashes endlessly against Odin's spirits. So it is Vigfús Bladewind that we must find, so we're sent to Tidescorn Harbor, where a full cargo of stolen souls is set to be taken to Helheim. We light the bonfire, which pisses off the Kavaldir because it makes their mist disappear, all the while we're trying to get Bladewind's attention. Nothing seems to really bother him though, so we move further down and we liberate these souls ready for transport. It's interesting that amongst the souls, we find not only Vrykul, but also humans and trolls. Helheim and the Halls of Valor, it seems to be more of a Vrykul afterlife, so I guess that Helja decided to send her Valkyr to also collect the souls of our fallen troops. The afterlife could make for a great separate video, but after letting the souls go, Vigfús finally shows up.
What are you idiots doing? Well now, what is this I sense? A soul that radiates great power! I will take you to Helheim myself, hero of Azeroth! Then come meet death, hero!
We smack Vigfús around for a bit, until he runs away and leads us to an area where Helja can help him out.
Die and accept your face! Prey has quite a bite! Follow, if you dare! Then come a little farther before we fight, hero. I have a surprise for you! Helja, aid your champion! I will claim this prize in your name!
So this is the champion of Odin! Let them die by Odin's own blades! I bless these weapons with the fury of Helheim! Go, Vigfús! Slay the champion and earn my favor for all eternity!
Not even the additional powers granted by Helja are enough for Vigfús to take us on, and we claim the blades originally crafted for the mightiest of Valarjar, infused with not only Odin's power, but Helja's as well.
I see only darkness. Helja! No! No!
Vigfús, you weak fool! Your torment will be unending! I grow weary of your presence! Tell Odin that this changes nothing! He will suffer my wrath for ages to come!
Vigfús says the same thing as Arthas did at the top of Icecrown, a connection between Helja and the hell that Arthas ended up in, or does Blizzard simply like this quote? Like I said, the afterlife might make for an awesome video in the future, but for now, warriors will wield the warblades in the war against the Legion as they adventure through the Broken Isles. However, those are the story for another day, so for now, thank you very much for watching everyone, subscribe if you like my videos, leave a like if you enjoyed this one, and until next time guys, see ya!